Hello humanoids, welcome to Halfling Hobbies. I'm Halfling Hannah, and oh boy does that feel good to say. It's been over a year since I've been able to post a video. If you want a life update, I have a short that's coming out about the same time this video is, so be sure to pop over to the Halfling Hobbies channel so you can look at that short to get a little update about why I've been gone for so long. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about how to break your brain block. That was really hard to say. Why did I pick this phrase? Break your brain block. Or if you're just interested in how to stay on top of your game as a DM, stay super creative, come up with new side quests, campaign ideas, all that kind of thing, I have 5 foolproof methods that I always use, especially if I'm feeling like I'm just not as creative as I want to be, or I have something new that I need to put out. I put out a lot of content. I have to keep coming up with these creative ideas, and this is how I do it. And I certainly hope it's as helpful for you as it has been for me over the years. So, here we go. Alright, so we've got 5 foolproof ways to get your creative juices flowing and come up with these creative and cool side quests and campaign ideas. And we're going to start off with number 1, my absolute favorite method, which is start with the monster. Instead of trying to come up with a big plot or a big idea, just start with the monster. Grab your favorite tome. One of my favorites, actually, Can I not destroy everything when I pull out a book? Probably not. But I got this book actually as a Kickstarter, and it's called Fearsome Foes and Where to Find Them, and it's got a whole bunch of really cool monsters in here. I love looking through this when I want some creative ideas. But of course, D&D has a whole bunch of books as well, so grab your favorite. Grab Volo's Guide to Monsters, that's another one of my favorites. The Monster Manual, anything you want, and just start flipping through until you find a monster that catches your fancy. Any one of them will do. It doesn't matter how high or low the CR, because you can always scale things up, or you can even make it a multi-part quest. So if the CR is way too high for your players, they might be able to discover what's going on, but they can't do anything about it. That is just as fun as them actually solving the problem, I promise. And then it can come back around later. So what you do is you pick your favorite monster or one that just gives you goosebumps or gets you excited, and then you come up with the side quest around that monster. Read about it, understand it. Where does it come from? Where does it go? Where did it come from? So sorry. ADHD moment. We're good. So figure out where it comes from, what it wants, what it's planning, if it's a monster that has intelligence, or if it's more of a bestial monster, why is it in that area? Is there something that has happened to upset it? Here are some of my favorites, because this can be as elaborate or as simple as you want. So let's take the monster of Nosferatu. This is in Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Nosferatu is very bestial, and you can just do a quest where they have to figure out that it is a Nosferatu and they kill it. Or, and here's what I did for one of my side quests that's super fun, is I actually had a mage brand these Nosferatu. They collected them and they branded them with a special rune that made them controllable. And they released them in these different villages throughout the area to slaughter livestock to absolutely decimate these farmers' incomes. And then this rich person would come in and buy up all the land. So it was kind of a 2-person operation. There was a mage that was getting the Nosferatu, and then there was the wealthy landowner who was buying up the land. The wealthy landowner benefited because they now owned lots and lots of land that they could buy up very cheaply because these farmers were in distress. And the mage benefited because there was something secret and ancient underneath all of these farms that no one realized was there. This is a super fun, elaborate side quest, maybe even a one-shot or part of a campaign. Or you can go super simple. My favorite way to start off brand new adventurers at level 1 is with a side quest created from a cockatrice. Cockatrice? However you want to say it. It's simply that this cockatrice has gone insane and is destroying farmland and attacking people because a young boy, not knowing any better, stole its egg. So the adventurers have two choices. They can either just kill the cockatrice, or they can find and return the egg, or in my party's case, they can kill the cockatrice, find the egg, take it and raise it as their own, and have a cockatrice mount. That was actually really fun. I don't regret that one. So as you can see, you can go as elaborate or as simple with this as you want, and it honestly is a really fun game. Just go through, find these monsters, and come up with side quest ideas. It's super fun. Moving on to number 2. It's very similar to the monsters, but instead with spells. So start with a spell. So go through spell lists until you find one that catches your fancy, that gets your imagination going, and decide what could an evil mage, or maybe even just a careless mage, do with this spell. One of my absolute favorites is True Polymorph, and I am currently creating a mini adventure centered around this spell, where a mage casts this spell on the prince of a kingdom to turn him into a horse to get rid of him. The party then ends up encountering this horse who tells them he's not actually a horse, but a prince that's been turned into a horse, and they have to go on an adventure to try and restore the prince to his original form. It's going to be super fun, and I'm really excited about it. That'll be coming out on Patreon, so if you're interested in that, consider joining Patreon. Number 3. This is take inspiration from real life, whether it be the news or folk tales or true crime podcasts and TV shows, if you like watching those. Take inspiration from real life. Take these things and say, okay, if this was in my campaign setting or a fantasy setting in general, how would this maybe change a little bit? I'm currently working on a one-shot, again, for Patreon, shameless plug, sorry, Patreon. Currently working on a one-shot for Patreon that is based on the real-life thing that happened in New York, which is the war on rats. Yes, we are currently waging war on rats, which if you've been to New York City, you know this is a problem. But I thought, what if a fantasy city waged war on rats? What would that look like? And then I thought, were-rats. I've always wanted to use were-rats in something, but I could never figure it out. So this was my opportunity. This one-shot adventure is going to focus on were-rats. So were-rats are taking over the city. They are turning people, and they are creating this underground gang, and they're using swarms of rats to do their bidding throughout the city. The regular civilians think that it's just rats, and so the city is waging war on rats. But the mayor of the city has called your adventurers together to deal with the real problem, the Rat King under the city. I'm so excited, even just talking about it, I'm so excited. So make sure that you join Patreon if you like that idea, or steal it and make your own and tell me how it goes. Whatever you decide to do, inspiration from real life is always a great way to go. I once had a professor tell me that the very best fiction is often based in reality, because sometimes reality is just stranger than fiction. I would have thought of a war on rats. Like, she actually said this. Go Google it. She actually made a speech. It was a whole thing. Anyway, another shameless plug. If you're tired of hearing about Patreon, I'm so sorry, skip just a little bit. But speaking of the folklore examples of taking real life and turning it into fantasy, I am in the middle of a whole series of doing just this. It is called the Legend Lore's Periodical of Fantastic True Tales for Fearless Explorers. And each and every month, I'm creating a whole story, a whole periodical around a folklore legend that I've turned into a fantasy legend. You can use these as just folklore for your world. You can use them as side quests. They'll have NPCs in them, all sorts of things. They're really, really fun. The last one that I did was based on the legend of Robert Johnson, the blues musician. And this month, which is August right now, is going to be The Widow's Lantern, which is going to take your players through a rather challenging and terrifying experience in the Feywild. I am so excited about that. So if you're interested in seeing those monthly, that is a Patreon exclusive. I'm not going to put that anywhere else, so make sure that you sign up for Patreon. Number 4 is analyze your favorite stories. So you cannot be a good writer if you are not an avid reader. The ideas that we read and consume, the structures, the formats, they all kind of mesh together inside of us, and that's where our pool of creativity comes from. This can be reading, this can be shows, this can be anything creative that you consume, but you have to be consuming creative content in order to be creative yourself. Now, I'm not a huge advocate of simply stealing plot lines and taking things from what you like, but I am a huge advocate of analyzing why you like it and then using a similar structure in your own creative efforts. So look at the things that you really like and ask yourself, why? Why do I like this so much? Why do I like this character? Why do I like this storyline? What is it that I can use to make my things even better? A great read that I highly recommend is called The Hero's Journey. Actually, by Joesph Campbell. This one is The Power of Myths, which is also incredible and I highly recommend because, again, it follows along the same lines. But A Hero's Journey really outlines what it is about these epic stories, starting way back with the Iliad, that humans just really resonate with and love. And when you understand the hero's journey, you understand all of the different parts of the stories that you love follow the same outline, and you can do the same thing without ripping anything off. Wholly creatively new content, but following the hero's journey. So I 100% recommend, if you are really stuck and you're just feeling creatively zapped, look at your favorite stories. Take a break and reread your favorite book or watch your favorite series and just look at it from a step back and say, what is it about this that I love so much? And it will, I promise you, help you a lot. And number 5, my last foolproof method for coming up with creative ideas is to brainstorm with others. Now, I am a huge introvert. I don't like talking to people. I don't like brainstorming with people, but I recognize that it makes my works better. Having other people's ideas, other people's perspectives, other people's creativity influence mine makes everything better, and I cannot recommend it enough. Find a community that you are comfortable with and invest in that community and brainstorm with each other. This can be anything. I have a Discord. Again, you can access that through Patreon. A lot of Patreon in this. Sorry if you hate Patreon. Really. But I have a Discord where people will just hang out and talk about their campaigns, and we give each other ideas, and my ideas have even gotten so much better because of that community. But you don't have to do my Discord. There are a bunch of other Discords with DMs where you can do the same thing, or even just chat with your best friend who's also into Dungeons and Dragons or anything creative and just talk about the ideas that you're having, and I promise you, you'll see how much better they can become when you work together. Those are my 5 foolproof methods for breaking through brain block. Hey, I did better that time. Or simply staying on top of your game as a DM and being creative. Or if you're just bored, this is also super fun to do. Not gonna lie, I have a whole notebook full of ideas from doing this process just when I get bored. It's super fun. If you like this content, you want to see more, make sure to give me a like and subscribe. If you hate it, tell me that you hate it and leave a comment down below. Either way, not just hate comments. I realize that sounds like I just want hate comments. That's not true. And until next time, my friends, may your game have advantage. It's Halfling Hannah here, signing out.